Reports reaching iAfrica TV have it that the Inspector General of Police of the Gambia has died. And a Gambian female activist has won the Daily Trust African Personality of the Year 2020. And the Nigerian army managed to rescue more than 100 students and staff from attackers at the country's Federal Forest College. Well, these and more coming your way on this week. It is 2000 GMT from our studios in Banjul, and many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. And we begin with the breaking news that Mahmoud Job, the Inspector General of Police of the Gambia Police Force, has died in Banjul at the country's main referral hospital. His body is currently at the hospital awaiting funeral arrangement. It is not to the public knowledge whether the Gambia's head of the police had any underlying sickness prior to his demise. One of his latest public engagements was the before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRC, barely a week ago. His appearance was in connection with the alleged killing of the West African migrants government agents in the Gambia sometimes in 2005. The late IGP of the police had been tasked by the TRC to produce the missing diaries from Bundan Police Station, Barra Police Station and the PIU headquarters respectively regarding the killings of the migrants. Here is the late IGP speaking before the commission.
Would you give the commission a date when you will report back about these diaries?
Yes, probably if I can be giving from now to next week, because it's going to be an exhaustive searching.
Because
like you have mentioned, it's very relevant that this information is made available.
The evidence before this commission is that these diaries have been disappeared. They have been disappeared.
Well, I'm yet to confirm that statement, because if it happens, it has never been brought to my attention. Okay, unless I find out.
Well, we leave it in your hands as to how you go about this.
Thank you, Council.
So, is it okay for your return date to be Wednesday? Next week, Wednesday?
Certainly, I will try by all means to make sure that I am available on Wednesday next week.
And
to produce the diaries or an explanation as to why those diaries are not available.
Yes, Council.
The late Inspector General of Police Mahmoud Job, they are speaking before the TRC, and however, this promise will no more be delivered on earth. If accorded a state funeral, the case of the IGP Mahmoud Job will be the fourth of this kind under the new government. The first was the tribute on former President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jamare, which was followed by Demba Sous, the then MP of Nyamina West, and the late Gambian football legend Mamadou Njai Biri Biri was also accorded a state funeral. Women's rights activist Musubakoto Sao on Friday was awarded the winner of the Daily Trust African of the Year 2020. The $10,000 award was presented to Musu in recognition of her exemplary activism to fight the rights of women and girls. Amin Dao has more details of that in this report.
Daily Trust, one of the leading newspapers in Nigeria, set up the African Award of the Year, keeping a list of personalities with outstanding performance in the continent for more than 10 years. The 2020 winner is Musubakoto Sao, a women's rights activist in the Gambia, whose nomination was filed by the United Nations Development Programme that found her achievements worth the name. Speaking during the presentation ceremony, Musu welcomed the award as a recognition of her job and love for women and girls to live a meaningful life.
As an activist, a women's rights activist in particular, someone who identifies as feminist, from a really young age, I attach importance to volunteering and giving back to my community. The recognitions are not the reasons why I do this work. For me, it's about the love for my country, the love for women and girls in this country, and the need for us to live a meaningful life in this country is what pushes me every day. I wake up, continue to do the work. I sleep. In my sleep, I'm dreaming about how I am going to continue doing this work so that my daughter or any other daughter in this country will not have to go through the things that I have been through, whether it is female genital mutilation or child marriages or other harmful traditional practices. Respect for fundamental human rights of women should be a priority for any country.
Kabiru Abdullahi Yusuf, the chairperson of the Daily Trust Board of Directors, said the award justifies how serious his organization takes the issue of women's rights in Africa.
Because we didn't want even the pandemic to stop us. That's why I said, well, initially I was worried maybe they will put me in quarantine, but I'm glad that I'm able to come here and really mix with you and present the award to her. We think she's very deserving of going through several nominations of people who are doing many things. And we chose her because we felt the issue of women's rights, even children's rights in Africa, is a very serious problem. It's all over the continent. There is no continent that has that, no country that does not have this problem. And we think by recognizing and awarding somebody who is doing this work, who has also been recognized by other bodies, by other international bodies, we are reinforcing the need for this kind of work all over Africa.
Aissata Day resident, the representative of UNDP, described Musu's award as not just a recognition, but also a message to all the young girls who do not have the courage to express what they are going through in life.
We're women who might not be known at the continent level, but who are getting some achievement at national level need to be praised, especially for the younger generation, because we know all that our countries are almost over 50% with a population that less than 20 years, and we also know that even throughout the pandemic, gender-based violence is at increase. The fight against FGM is still in the agenda, despite the whole effort that we went through. So I just want to congratulate you, Musu, for being an example, for being a great leader, and for setting the stage. And I think this is not only a recognition, but also is a message to all the young girls who are going through a lot of things that they sometimes don't have the courage to express.
Musubakoto Sao, a 30-year-old lawyer, is a Gambian change maker and tireless women's rights advocate. She has been in advocacy as early as her childhood stages, being committed to end violence against girls and women, including child marriage and female genital mutilation. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amin Dao.
A Gambian woman, of course, right activist, rewarded for her work of defending women's rights. And from that report, they are next to South Africa, because South Africa's mining industry has been making headway in its operations despite the impact of the global health crisis. Recent involvement in the sector, improvement in the sector rather, followed improved investment in the business to boost production, according to experts. It is anticipated that the miners could wind in their business operations across the continent. And let's have more of that in this report.
The upbeat and positive situation for South African miners is one that the sector hasn't seen since 2015.
With the recovery of so many of the commodities and the prices, demand, supply and prices, we've seen many of our mining entities re-looking their exploration expenditure, apart from their maintenance capex, maybe expansionary capex happening. And as well as having a look at diversification, not just necessarily in the actual commodity that they're in already, going into different commodities and even going across the borders.
I think investors can take some solace from the fact that because of the commodity price levels that we're seeing, these miners are in a position where they're able to invest back into their businesses or sometimes through M&A, whilst also returning cash to shareholders. So at the moment, it's not a question of either or. In many cases, they're doing both.
But how attractive are local mines to foreign-based mining businesses?
What we've picked up from the international market as well, the interest is not necessarily so big, in the existing mines, of our many miners that we look after. However, for new greenfield opportunities in some of the energy minerals that we're seeing there, for example, like copper, sub-Saharan Africa, and including South Africa, is definitely, a target.
South African mines may be a little too expensive for some prospective buyers at the moment.
I think one deterrent is you look at the valuations or the market caps of some of these businesses. Several of them are up 2, 3, 4, 5-fold over a relatively short period of time. So I think that is somewhat of a deterrent. Although, again, on the other hand, relative to the cash flows that they're generating, the multiples are now lower than they were a few years ago.
Looking further afield, local and international investors will be looking at the rest of the continent.
We believe that there will be a re-look at the existing precious metals, for example. Base metals going to be very important. We see a very drastic increase in the demand for energy minerals.
The mining sector is set for a boom period, and the beneficiaries are going to be the mine management, the communities that they mine in, investors and shareholders.
And from that report there in South Africa now, the United Cities and Local Governments of Africa held a Zoom meeting to endorse the priority document of the Gambia Association of Local Government Authorities, GALGA, defining their new relationship with the European Union. Binta Fati has more details of that in this report.
The roadmap is a consultancy done to assess the challenges and priorities of local government authorities in the Gambia and how it is bound to open a better window of international relations. The initiative is expected to strengthen local government authorities through the EU cooperation program process earmarked for the next 5 years. Juliet Saleh, Regional Director of the West Africa Regional Office of the United Cities and Local Government Africa, introduced local government authorities as key development actors who deserve the support rendered in their negotiations with the European Union.
Local governments have never benefited from the direct implementation of the European Union Communication 2013, whereby the policy clearly indicates the willingness of the European Union to empower local governments in partner countries for enhanced governance and effective development outcomes.
Isane, chairman of the Mansa Konko Area Council, who doubles as the president of the Gambia Association of Local Government Authority, said the partnership under discussion journeyed from the compendium of laws in the sector of development, analytical report on decentralization policies to the roadmap identifying priority areas for local governance.
The UCLG Africa hired a consultant for our association, and the following 3 key documents were elaborated. First, a compendium of laws and policies in the sector of development, an analytical report on the policy of decentralization, and a roadmap defining the priority areas that Galga will like to work on. These documents are to enable Galga engage in political dialogue with the national government and the EU delegation to the Gambia to ensure localization of the national policy.
Speaking on behalf of the Select Committee on Local Government of the National Assembly, Sunkaru Baji pointed out the need to update the existing legal framework to be at par with the current speed of global integration. The graduation, he added, must go along with capacity for local government authorities.
A lot of our local government authorities, if not all, have the necessary capacity to implement their projects.
Within the European Union programs, Galga is putting a strong eye on employment and entrepreneurship without a loss in focus on migration issues, climate change adoption, and the health sector. Reporting for iAfrica TV News, I am Binta Fati.
The European Union approves, of course, Galga's roadmap document, as reported by Binta Fati. And now to Nigeria, where the Federal College of the Forestry Mechanization Institute was attacked on Friday morning by armed bandits in the district of Kanuda, resulting to the adoption of 30 students and 30 more wounded. Troops from the Nigerian army clashed with the attackers at the school, rescuing 180 students and staff. The latest incident adds to the number of several kidnapping operations, mainly on women and schools-going children in the West African state. Umar Ahmad Toure tells us more of that in this report.
Nigeria is considered to be the third most terrorized country in the world after Afghanistan and Iraq, with over 1,600 people killed in 125 fatal incidents, according to the Global Terrorism Report of 2020. Abduction of school children becomes a common occurrence in Nigeria since the famous kidnapping of Chibok girls in 2014. This latest abduction comes to the notice of the authorities through a staff of the college, which is a few meters away from the Nigerian Defense Academy in Mando. Samuel Arwan is the Commissioner of Internal Affairs of Kaduna State and explains the operation leading to the rescue of dozens of students.
We received a distress call from Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, AFACA, in Igabi local government area of Kaduna Central Senatorial District. Immediately, troops from 1 Division Nigerian Army moved to the school. And immediately on getting to the school, troops engaged the bandits.
Troops from the Nigerian Defense Academy engaged the bandits in guerrilla warfare to rescue over 100 students and staff. Samuel Arwan again.
At the end of the day, 180 students and staff of the institution were rescued. As we speak, we cannot account for about 30 students. This is the present situation. I am also here to inform you that the military and other security agencies are working around the clock. Some of the students that were rescued sustained injuries, just bruises within the school environment. They are presently receiving medical attention at a military facility.
The investigations into the incident is currently ongoing. Last month, more than 300 schoolgirls were kidnapped by unidentified gunmen from a boarding school in Janjebe, Zamfara, northwestern Nigeria. The 2014 kidnap of 276 schoolgirls in the northeastern town of Chibok by militants of Boko Haram brought global attention to the scourge of raids on schools in Nigeria. But the most recent attacks are suspected to be the work of criminal gangs. The recent attack is yet another tragic reminder of the security challenges that persist in Nigeria and how schools and their population remain a target for armed groups. For iAfrica TV, I'm Omar Ahmad Toure.
You're watching this week's news bulletin on iAfrica TV, and there's more news coming ahead. But for now, we'll take a break and come back shortly with the remainder of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception Our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. And now, the non-governmental organizations in Nigeria have raised concerns over United Kingdom's plans to cut its support to the West African country. The move, according to the NGOs, could trigger more harm for vulnerable communities that have been benefiting from the UK's assistance. UK has more than 50 active aid projects in Nigeria, which has been helping to change people's lives in different sectors. Here is more details of that in this report.
An estimated 30% of Nigerians have no access to clean water and safe toilets. Worst affected are rural communities where, in most cases, people have to trek miles to get water from streams. But one non-governmental organization is making a significant contribution to address the problem in the country. WaterAid Nigeria is working in over 100 communities across 7 states of the country to provide water and safe toilets. The organization is one of the NGOs that benefit from aid from the United Kingdom. The UK's planned aid cut could therefore affect its operations in Nigeria.
We cannot project for now, but one thing we've tried to do all along is to diversify the funding portfolio as an organization, reach out to private sector, because wash is really everybody's business. Water is everybody's business. So we are hoping really that the effect will not be that bad, because really we need to do more of what we are doing more than ever before.
WaterAid is just an example of the potential funding challenge ahead for some civil society organizations and projects that benefit from aid from the United Kingdom. Data from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office show that the UK has 53 active aid projects, almost 20 sectors.
When you consider a lot of civil society organizations that are based, that are domestic, need to do, then you cannot do as much as you want to do. Meanwhile, the challenges are actually increasing.
Well, definitely, it is also a challenge to ensure that the culture of charity is developed in Nigeria so that Nigerians can begin to pay for the causes they believe in. We cannot simply be passengers and expect others to pay for sensitization. Capacity building, and dissemination of knowledge in our society. So it will be a challenge to the CSOs as well as a challenge to the Nigerian society who wish to continue enjoying the services we render.
The UK's aid for Nigeria in the year 2020-2021 is put at £247 million. The bulk of the funding goes to the health sector. therefore ironic that the planned funding cut is coming at a time in the middle of a massive health battle in the war against the coronavirus pandemic.
And from the report there in Nigeria, finally to some sports news now, because the newly elected president of the Confederation of African Football has said that he is interested in making African football the best in the world. Patrice Mopesete on Friday went on a polls among members association of CAF to become the 7th person to occupy the leadership. Details of that in this report. The South African billionaire was confirmed as the new Confederation of African Football president during the CAF's 43rd Ordinary General Assembly held in Rabat, Morocco. Dr. Prince Motsepe, who is the owner of the South African football giant Mamelodi Sundowns, was elected to replace outgoing Ahmad, whose 3-year reign promised much but was ultimately mocked. Organization. He also hinted of his preparedness to address the organization's financial hurdles by engaging the private sector to change the narratives.
If you listen to our financials, we've got problems there. We've got challenges, and we've got to fix it, and we will fix it. Pursue partnerships with the private sector, and build a partnership with the private sector that makes them appreciate the huge benefit to their businesses and the benefits to them of participating with us.
The 59-year-old South African ascending to the pinnacle of African football comes following intervention by FIFA President Gianni Infantino, who reportedly supervised the breaking of a deal with other candidates, including Augustin Senghor of Senegal. Unlike his erstwhile rival, Motsepe has no experience in football administration and represented an unlikely candidate for CAF presidency. The new president of the Confederation of African Football there, Prince Motsepe, of course, vows to improve the African football, and we only hope that would happen in the soonest. For more details, Africa.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put in to constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to